It seems like everyone wants to tell you about how they got their 2 shots. Well, the only 2 shots me and Archie have had is whiskey that could probably start a car. But if you want your shot at hearing the most badass athletes, the funniest comedians, and the sickest musicians, then go to www.NTTFGPOD.com and subscribe. I'm Rock.
And I'm Archie. Well, our opinions, they might not matter to some, but...
What are you doing in there?
It's a podcast.
Immature, crass, trashy. And those are their good qualities. These poor schmucks are a couple of IQ points away from eating paste. But when it comes to music, sports, and comedy, well, that's all they know. You're listening to
Not These Two Fucking Guys.
Not These Two Fucking Guys podcast.
I've said this before. Have you ever had Jersey Girl brewing?
I have. Delicious.
I'm drinking a Belgian triple. Ooh.
I like the artwork too.
I know.
Playing card king on it.
I know. It looks pretty dope. They are not a sponsor, but Jersey Girl Brewing Company in Hackettstown, New Jersey.
There you go.
Yeah, they're pretty delicious. I enjoy Jersey Girl here and there.
You know what I could say though?
What?
No Jersey girl has ever enjoyed you.
Yo, Rock.
What's up, buddy?
You know how jacked up I get when we talk about rock music, metal, or anything that has to do with rock and roll, right?
Absolutely.
Well, here we go, bro. This next guest is a woman of many hats, my friend. She's a director, dancer, choreographer, talent coordinator. The list could go on and on and on, but most importantly, she is a visionary when it comes to creating the very sexy, talented, badass girl dance group, the Cherry Bombs. Please welcome to Not These Two Fucking Guys podcast, Alicia Taylor.
Thank you for having me. I love that. I feel like I should have you do my intro before every meeting I go into.
Look, you landed a new gig, Arch, already. Fucking 10 seconds in. That's
I
great.
love it. We'll add some explosions in the background.
It'll be your 6:15 a.m. wake up call
No, like,
on the alarm clock. Let's go.
I love it.
Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. We appreciate it. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing really well. Busy, super slammed right now, but happy and excited for things, coming up and hopefully some sort of resemblance of normalcy that we used to know at one point in time. Yeah.
But how are you and the family? Everybody good during these shitty times,
Everybody's good. Everybody's healthy. No
Good.
complaints. In a weird way, this whole pandemic, obviously, my husband and I, we've been home more than ever. And it really brought our family super close, and we were able to connect and have more time together than we've ever had. And I think that was really important for us. And we've just totally bonded over this past year, and it's been really good for us. We've really enjoyed it.
That's good.
Great.
Yeah.
Oh, I've been home. I've been fucking home so much. We have an 11-month-old and a 2.5-year-old, and we had a pandemic baby.
Yeah. Congratulations.
And me and the little one, we got to watch a series called Girl Gang Series.
Nice.
Oh, lucky you.
But I loved it. I got such a cool insight on how you guys started, where you're going, and where it led you.
Thank you.
Up till now. And I'll be honest, I started watching. I was like, oh, it's cool. And then next thing you know, I'm like, bro, let her get the fucking lift in. like I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Now I'm sitting there like this.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. It's a doozy, right?
No, yeah. But everybody out there, you got to check it out to know what I'm talking about. But all I'm saying, was that on purpose? Meaning, like, did you go out to film this series, or this is behind the scenes stuff you kind of put together? Was this meant to be a?
Yeah, it was meant to be a reality series of sorts. I knew I wanted to shoot it documentary style. I didn't want it to be like this, like Real Housewives type of bullshit that we see. I wanted it to be real raw and mainly to give people an idea of who we are, bigger than what you just see us on stage. So we're not just these half naked girls on stage, just doing our thing. I wanted to let people insight to see like how much work it took and all the training involved, and just kind of give more of a human side to us as performers too. And that's really kind of what I set out. And I remember when we first started filming that first season, I turned to my videographer and I was like, let's just roll it. And God, maybe it's going to be boring. I don't know. He was like, I don't know. And I mean, as you know, mayhem ensued. And we shoot each season pretty much over up until the third one. That was over a bigger span of time. But the first two seasons were shot over 2-3 days.
Gotcha.
Wow.
And yeah, it's a lot that can happen. It's real dramatic.
I'll say, yeah.
And I remember being like, man, what if this is boring? What if it sucks? We'll just grab it. And then the end of the first season, we stopped rolling the first season after about two days. And I was like, well, that wasn't boring. And then season 2, we were like, yeah, maybe boring again. And then, documentary gods were like, I got you, fam. Like, we're gonna start a riot. We're gonna start a Mexican City riot.
That's
Here you go.
Great. That's great.
Yeah. And then my videographer turned to me and he was like, yo, Alicia, like these Girl Gang episodes are getting wild. I was like, yeah.
I love how it's so independent. It's like, like you did it on your own. And what was really cool is that a couple of years ago, I saw an interview with Sonny Sandoval from POD, and he was on a Scott Boland show. Bowling. Yeah. All right. So now I see this logo, Kind Punk, a lot because I'm starting to go to that show a lot because he had some cool guests. It was pretty cool. Then I see your documentary and I'm like, oh, Kind Punk.
Yeah.
I talked with over text a little bit, Scott. Is this a Georgia related thing? Like, how was the hookup with Kind Punk there?
Yeah. So I used to live in Atlanta, and when I was there, I got a call to be in a Fozzy video with Chris Jericho's band. And they were like, we need dancers. Can you come down and do this? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And went there and shot it. It was great. The director, I saw how he was working and I saw the playback and I was like, man, this guy's like really good. He was a young kid. And I turned to him and I said, are you local? And he said, yeah. And I was like, do you want more work? Because I've got this dance group and your stuff is rad. Like your shooting style is perfect. It's very kind of renegade throw and go style, which I love. And he was like, yeah, let's go. I was like, have you ever been to a bike rally? And he was like, no, let's go. And he was like, wow. And he hadn't formed Kind Punk yet. That's Nathan Mowry, by the way. And he hadn't formed Kind Punk yet. Things were picking up so much after that Judas video from Bobby. It just exploded that he started getting booked more and more and more. And he's like, I need to form a company. And so he formed Kind Punk, and he and I have worked together ever since on all these different projects, obviously. And then Scott Bowling linked up with him, who is also in Georgia, north of Atlanta, for his YouTube series. And Nathan's just kind of now the go-to guy for everything kind of rock and roll in Atlanta area. And a lot of musicians are down there.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
I'm a video editor by trade, and
nice.
And I'm watching his stuff, and I was digging a lot of his, like the cuts and then using the cinematography. He did a great job with everything that he's done with you so far. So I could only imagine, maybe if you keep using them or whatever, but I think it's doing awesome work.
I agree. And most of our stuff is shot with one camera. It's really him just running around. There are times where we had 2 other, at most 3, but not often at all. And most of Girl Gang is shot with one camera too. Okay. So he's just running all over the place.
Run and gun. Just go.
Just going. And honestly, like you said, his style is so rad and it's so punk.
Yeah.
Not to,
I know.
Punk. It is. We did a promo video and it was beautifully shot and it was super expensive. And it was with this really like high level videographer and it was beautifully done. And it was just beautifully edited and Sony red cameras and the crane and all this stuff. And when I looked at it, I was like, this doesn't feel like us. It's like too perfect, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So like with rock and roll, it needs to be a little dirtier, a little rougher on the edges. I need just something a little not so perfect. It just didn't feel authentic. And then Nathan, came with his one camera and finagled some shit together and threw it and was like, yeah, cool. And his became my favorite video.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
When did you first have the vision for the cherry bombs?
I first had the vision for it when I was a cheerleader in the NFL for the Atlanta Falcons. And I just was tired of dancing to Justin Bieber and Katy Perry songs. With a giant candy cane in my hand.
Oh, God.
And I also was really tired. I've always been kind of a little bit of a rebel by nature. I don't like to be told what to do a lot when it comes to like things I find that are just stupid. And when you're in the NFL like that, they really do own you. They own everything you do. You're very much controlled. And to me, it just wasn't worth it after a while. For what it was great. The experience was rad. I got to travel all around the world and do amazing appearances and find a network of women, 39 women every year that were immediate friends. That was great. That was the awesome part. Performing for football games, love football. It was rad. But for $75 a game, I was like...
Really?
Yeah. I
didn't know that.
For all the things they were asking, I just didn't want to do it anymore.
Practice alone.
Yeah, and that seems like a lot of work for that.
It was a lot of work. It was a lot. And that going in. You understand that going in. So by no means was I like, tricked or anything like that.
Yeah.
They were very upfront about that. And so for the first, 2 years, I was like into it. I was like, oh yeah, I'm into it. And then by the third year, it just wasn't fulfilling anymore to me. And so I was like, I can do this and I can do it to music that I really dig and I can make a lot more money doing it. And I can have just as much fun, if not more fun. And, I don't have to worry about what I'm going to say online. If I'm going to get, piss off somebody or if I'm going to get kicked off for, and I'm pretty mouthy anyway. So it was only a matter of time.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. So you went from cheerleading. I believe I read somewhere that you said you tried to get a couple cheerleaders on board with you for retired cheerleaders that you had on board with you. And that kind of didn't work out a little bit.
Totally. And I'm still friends with them to this day. So we joke about it now. When I retired from the NFL, I was like, okay, I'm going to create this group. And my real close friends were like, okay, that sounds kind of cool. And the other half were like, what's wrong with Alicia? Like I always had the most tattoos on the team. They were always the little ones. So I just covered them up. But then I started getting more and I dyed my hair red and they were like, what's gotten into Alicia? Like, is she okay? And, I was
looking at devil's music. Now look at her.
Yeah. In fact, someone said that I was added to somebody's prayer list.
Oh, God.
What?
Yeah. I was added to a prayer list. There's like a prayer list on the wall of this restaurant outside of Atlanta and my name was on it. And a lot of them stopped talking to me because all of a sudden I was like this heathen.
Hashtag pray for Alicia.
Grandma, when you go to church on Sunday, just please, I have a friend.
Need you to add Alicia. She's getting a lot of tattoos. I'm worried about her. Smoking the devil's lettuce.
Say, there you go.
I'm like, okay, come on, y'all. And so whatever. But yes, the few that were my ride or dies, they're like, yeah, we'll do something with you. And our first gig was Sturgis, South Dakota. Yeah. The world's largest motorcycle rally.
Yep. Okay.
And these girls, like, bless them, because at the end of it, they were like, we love you. We're here for you. We will cheer you on. No, this is really our thing. I was like, okay.
Yeah, that had to be culture shock for them, no?
Oh, and I was used to, like, I've lived all over the place, all over the country. I grew up in Seattle. I went to college in Hawaii. I lived in Atlanta. I've been all over the place, done it all and then some. So this wasn't really like, I had a blast. I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
And some of these others were a little more sheltered. It was just a much different world for them. And
yeah.
I totally get it. So they were like, we wish you well.
We'll pray for you.
We're going to do great. We'll buy tickets to your show and we'll be there to support you.
Alicia, I'll mail back my thong. See you later.
Yeah. Take my fishnets. I really don't want to put holes in them anyway. So yeah, no, they were good sports.
Good.
They were.
So from there you find your crew, right? You start trying out, and I know, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, is Vegas your home base with your crew?
It is. Yep. Now it is. So now, fast forward through all those years in Atlanta, came to Vegas, built a crew here, local, and this is really where we pull from now.
Okay. Yeah. Cause I believe in the series, it was saying like, I have crews like kind of scattered on if I have a show, East Coast, West Coast, if I have a show, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I still have, previous performers of mine that I still keep in touch with, where if we do get a one-off gig over in Atlanta, it just makes more sense to pull from local there. Mm-hmm. I can send them video. If it's a show that I can do that with, then I will absolutely bring them in for something like that.
Gotcha. Yeah. So Macabre is so cool.
Hell yeah.
So cool.
Thank you.
The soundtrack, the dancing, the wardrobe, the locations, all money.
Thank you.
I actually watched your whole series, and then I watched the show.
Oh, rad! Love that.
And like it was like a whole like cherry bomb extravaganza in my house this whole week.
You're looking at your daughters okay.
I was like, check this out. This is gonna be fun. Just don't tell mommy. No, but it's like I don't even know where to start on this thing because tell me where did you come up? Where did you come up with this idea?
It's one of those things, right? It's hard to explain.
It is. It is hard.
People keep asking me like, "What's Macabre? Tell me about Macabre." And I'm like, it's hard to describe cherry bombs. It's not much different than trying to nail that down either, because that's we're kind of a tough act to describe unless you've seen it. When you see us, you're like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
But if you haven't seen us before or any videos of us, you're like, what is this? Like these girls and they're in high heels and there's like fire, I guess, and they're hanging from stuff. I don't know. Macabre is. So before Macabre, when we did shows, it was always like number, unrelated to one another, just all different songs that I would pick, and we would do a dance to it or a fire act to it or an aerial act or whatever. And it was just kind of like a variety show, if you will. Mm-hmm. Sure. I figured the next step in the evolution of this brand was to create a show that had a storyline. We'd never done that before. And I'm not typically one to go like super deep into the artsy world because I don't want to lose anybody. Yeah. If I go way off, and I can go there definitely, but I want to keep it light. So
got it.
With this one, I wanted to kind of dip my toes into that kind of more artistic side of me. And so I wrote a storyline, based it off of the goddess Pele. When I lived in Hawaii, I had heard about her legend, and it was something that always kind of stuck with me. And then I expanded on her story and created kind of almost a horror story about it, that involved this man that gets deserted in the middle of the desert, and he comes across this saloon, and that's his only option is to go in there and figure out what to do. And he goes in, and you kind of wait to see if he ever makes it out again. Yeah. And there's a twist in there, and there's little Easter eggs in there. And that's kind of what I came up with as far as typing out the whole storyline as an outline. And then from there, I looked at music choices of what fit the mood for each part of the story.
Love it.
And then from there, I looked at what act would fit for each song. And then from there, we went to wardrobe and yada, yada. Yeah.
I was telling Archie the pick of the music, like it's crazy. Like obviously it's your vision and how it complements the scenes that you guys are doing. It's like, wow, this song was made for this, and obviously like you put this to this after the songs were made, but yeah, it really was like seamless. And like you started off with the Avatar song and it was just like that, like set the tone for the whole thing for me. And I was like, oh yeah, fucking good.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that was Avatar has always been a band that I really, really appreciated. I've been a fan of them for more than a few years now, and they just have this cool groove while still remaining heavy at the same time. And two, they're very visual themselves in their performances. I don't know if you've ever seen them live.
Oh yeah, I have.
Oh, you have? Okay, good. So you'll know, like, they're all about like, the story, right? So like the costumes and everything, and even their albums tell a story now. So yeah, it's just, I find that we pair well doing things to music of bands that are very visual like that. Yeah. Rob Zombie. Yeah. Rammstein, these very visual acts, if you will.
I even I was singing to fucking Spin, Spin, Sugar.
Yeah. So that was a sleeper track.
I know, because if I'm not mistaken, those were like my club days. I remember that being some type of a club song. No? Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm hearing, I'm like, I fucking love that song too. I remember when I used to go to clubs in Jersey Shore. I'm like, fuck yeah, bro.
I think I don't know how old you guys are, but I'm 36. So
we're near that. We're near there.
We're all there. Okay. Our generation remembers that. We remember Sneaker Pimps.
Yep.
They were really big. The kids today don't know them, but
no, not at all.
But I wanted to throw something in there that was a little bit of an homage to my past with music that I really loved. And so that was Sneaker Pimps and Prodigy for me. Prodigy is another really big one for me. And, to kind of give the kids something to get into.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a sleeper track that came out of nowhere.
How did you come up with the choreography to a song? So did you have, just for instance, did you have the dance before the song, or you knew in your mind, I'm going to have the song and I'm going to create a dance to the song?
You pick the song and then you do the dance to the song.
Okay.
So I don't choreograph everything. Okay. I will bring in choreographers because I find that if one person choreographs everything, it all starts to look the same.
Okay.
So actually there were many choreographers on this one. But what I do is if I work with a choreographer, I send them the song. I say, this is the song. This is the feel. This is how many people I want in it. This is what their costumes are going to look like. Let's do it.
Got it.
Yeah. Sometimes we collab. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes I let them run with it. Yeah.
We even threw in a flamenco guitar with fucking Metallica.
Yeah.
This whole piece was well done. I enjoyed the whole thing. There's so many. I have like 500 questions in my head, but I'm obviously we're not gonna take too much of your time. There was a cool scene, a cool setting. Rhyolite Ghost Town. Rhyolite. All right. Did you? I don't even know why I think of this. Like, did you get like permits to go there, or anybody could just go there and right?
To the fucking town, right?
I'm just wondering. Like,
let me see your permits.
Yeah, but we had to get permits.
Gotcha.
Because it's a historical site.
Okay.
It's a historic ghost town, and it's in the middle of Death Valley. And there's some like cool art installations around there too, right? As you pull into Rhyolite, it's really cool. It's about an hour and a half outside of Vegas, but yeah, we had to pull permits for it. We had to get permission. We had to tell them what we were doing, what kind of cameras we were using. We weren't going to destroy anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. That's the setting, the fucking, so cool. It's like somebody built your own fucking ghost town just for you, just like made for this video.
Yeah, I was spending days and days Googling ghost towns around me because I knew that I wanted an old looking saloon to be our White Dog Saloon, where this all takes place. And I was looking up, like bars around town, something that looked kind of Westerny. Nothing was really hitting. I found this other cool one in Arizona that we were going to go to. I was like, man, that's far. And I stumbled along Rhyolite and Google search and was looking at pictures. And what you see as the saloon in Macabre, where there's like a drone shot of it, the girls are walking out of, that's actually a train station.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a train station, not a saloon at all, but it looked like exactly what I had in my head. So I was like, that train station, that's my White Dog Saloon now.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So cool. So cool.
Super cool. Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you guys liked it. It's a fun one. It's a really, really fun one.
It's Archie and I are in a band, a local band, right? But doing it for years. And,
cool.
You write a song, people come see you, your friends come see you, it's great, play some big shows. But it's like, we watched this and we felt so uncreative compared to like, no, and I'm telling you, like again, the dance, the costumes, the concept, it's a level of thinking that's way beyond like what most people can comprehend.
I mean, yeah, but if you think about it, so like with bands, you guys are creating something audible. It's to be experienced with the ears. So that's where your creativity really has to shine. With me, mine is all visual. So it's what you experience with your eyeballs. That's all I got. So it's got to be a feast for the eyes, no matter what it is. And that's what I found is the biggest difference between us and a band is the experience is very different. One is via the ears and the other one is via the eyes. And that by no means doesn't mean that you can't do both. Like I said before, like you'll have bands that do like these crazy visual things, like Starset, or Alice Cooper or any of these other acts, and they're tapping into that too. But that's not typical for a band, I would say. I would say bands don't typically go like above and beyond on that visual aspect of it, ghost and but yeah, so I mean, there's definitely room for you guys if that's just something you want to start doing. Like
Rock, get your fishnets out of the closet, Rock.
Listen,
you ready?
If only I knew a guy who was my guitar player and also a fucking editor. If only I knew somebody that could make us do that. But I digress.
Yeah. It's fun. It's super fun. The next step that I think would be really cool is to create original music for our shows.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
I don't know how well that would go over. I don't know.
Let me ask you this. So you obviously Cherry Bombs open for bands, Stone Sour, what have you. What's like to me personally, like music lover, love metal, love rock. I love all types of music, right? But sometimes you go to a show and it's like, all right, band, and the band you went to see, right? I feel like I like variety when I go to a show, and like seeing something like that is like pretty cool. Like, for example, I went to see Guns N' Roses a couple years ago at the Garden, and they had a painter, and it held my interest. It held my interest before I saw the band I wanted to see. So like, I want to ask you, like, what was the reaction you guys? Because it's like so different live.
Yeah, that's kind of. So when Corey was putting that Stone Sour Steel Panther run together, he wanted something different like that. He wanted something that wasn't a band. And I think it's a good option for when you're trying to kind of think outside the box. Our reaction that we get is generally one of two. It's either pandemonium, just, and especially the women really seem to enjoy us, which is a huge compliment to me. Or it's just, you can hear a pin drop. It's just silent. I mean, I can't, and those shows, and you guys are in a band, so you understand. I'm sure. I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever been there, but if you have, you're like, God, do we suck?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
oh, that was, or it almost makes you go harder in a weird way because you want to like beat it the fuck out of them. You're like, come the fuck on, do something. Like, you almost like get in their faces more, and because you want to pull something out of them. And what happens is, I don't know if they know this, but like musicians and artists, we feed off of you. So 100%. If you see something you like, you better do something, because if you don't, it's like, whoa. But then we've had shows where, you, like I said, you could hear a pin drop. I was like, oh man, the girls were super bummed when we got on the bus. And I went down to check on our merch girl, and she was like, yo, Alicia, like, we're selling the most merch we've ever sold here. And I was like, here?
Yeah.
And these people just lined up out there like, oh my God, you guys are so awesome. You guys are, and I was like, wow, okay. Like, that would be good to know. Like, yeah. And I ran up on the bus. I was like, yo, girls, like, they loved us. And they were like,
who?
Us? Yeah, who? They did. Like, all of them did. And so the girls came out and took pictures, and they were rad. Like, I always check in with our demographics on our socials from time to time to see where we're at in different areas and markets. And that city just like went up. It was the weirdest thing, man.
Really?
And so I'm just going to go out on a limb and say they're in awe, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, do I clap now? Like, do you clap for a dance group? Like, what do you do?
You see, that's what happens when I pray for the girls.
They were praying. That's what they were doing. Praying.
What's funny is, like, Archie and I were like, we're the people that we would hate to come watch us play. Like, I go to a show and I'm like, I'm studying everything, like what's going on, the music, the backdrop, what's this, what's the sound guy do? Like, because I'm like, we're like students of it, right? Yeah. I'm like, I mean, listen, at the end of the song, we lose our fucking minds, obviously, but like during the song, it's like we suck as
a fan,
as concert goers, right? We wouldn't want this being done to us, but like, I think some people, like, if you're into the scene, you kind of fall into that trap.
Absolutely, I don't think you can help it, because you also know what's happening on that stage beyond what the typical audience member knows, because you've been there. And so if something goes wrong, but nobody can really tell, you can see it in someone's eyes. You're like, oh,
yeah.
Okay.
The old look. The old look.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. But no, I absolutely agree with you on that you're definitely a student every time you go, and you learn things too.
Oh, absolutely.
And it kind of can give you an appreciation for that band and what they're going through, good or bad, whatever it is.
A couple of years back, we were on, Rocco and I, for my birthday, we went to Shipwrecked. And
oh, cool.
And it was the one to Mexico, right? That's where we went.
Yes.
Stone Tower was on
that. Bahamas.
Watching bands left and right, and I'm like, we need to bring this back to our live show. Like the little nuances, little things that they're doing. Like, obviously not trying to copy them, but like, this is what we can integrate into our show and make it better. Like, these guys are professionals, and and we loved it. We were on the boat drinking in our fucking shorts and just soaking it all in.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, like, I don't care what level you're at. Every band is doing that. They're all doing it. They will learn things from one another, whether that's what to do or what not to do, or take inspiration from one another. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. You still, get a little something from each other. And that's good, because that means the industry is breeding these ideas and sharing them, and people are taking them and making them their own in their own different way. And that's never a bad thing, I don't think.
Real quick, if you don't mind, I just want to jump back to Macabre one second, because there's two things that I want to mention. One, I love that when I watched the Girl Gang series, and then I watched the Macabre, and then I'm like, Oh, here's the part where I'm sorry that I didn't know that this girl's one of the dancers' name. She's like, my pants fell down. My pants fell down. And I'm actually watching the scene and I'm like cracking up because like I watched the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So from that, is there anything like what did you take away at the end of the day after this was all shot? What did you personally take away that you just this was great, this was exhausting, this was wonderful, this is self accomplishment? Like, what did you take away from this experience?
Filming it all. I mean, it really does show you what the possibilities are when things are limited. And I kind of feel like that's a common thread with Cherry Bombs and everything that we kind of go through. Mm-hmm. We're always kind of pushed to be challenged in different ways, whether that's we're in a venue and I'm dealing with some, I won't say it, but I'm dealing with a man of sorts.
Yes.
And,
gotcha.
We have to work with that or around it or work through it. And, or it's, Mexico. With this, it was like this pandemic, and how resilient are we, and how are we going to make this and turn it into something into our favor? And that was the biggest takeaway, I think, through this whole thing was taking a shit sandwich and just, turning it into a beautiful club, and in a weird way, again, it was almost a blessing because it allowed us to stay relevant during a time where, artists and musicians and live acts weren't able to be. Yeah. It gave us something to do and to focus on during a time where we didn't really have anything to do or focus on. And it allowed us to create another season of Girl Gang, which is something we want to have ongoing. Mm-hmm. So it provided that. And then in a great way, it allowed us to do Girl Gang, to tee up to Macabre, to tee up to our tour. So you really can't beat that.
No.
Yeah. It's like an hour-long commercial for our tour.
Yeah. Where do we see the tour when we get back to fucking normal? Hopefully soon.
Yes.
CMFT, right? You're jumping on that tour?
We are.
I believe?
We are.
Okay.
That tour starts mid-May through mid to late June.
Oh, good.
So it's coming up. And that's all over the Midwest. I think everything's sold out except for 4 dates, maybe. Mm-hmm. So 20, I think I was counting the other 24 shows, 25 shows, something like that.
Awesome.
Yeah. However, they are limited capacity.
Yeah.
We do have a lot of COVID restrictions in place. That was really important to us. So that's really the first thing on the table right now after Macabre airs this weekend. And we're really one of the first acts to get out there. So we were prepping for this tour back in January, when there was, as you know, from January to now in April, a lot has changed. And states were like, fuck it, we're open. And we're like, oh, whoa.
There's like no rhyme or reason.
No. And when we planned this tour, nothing was really open. And we were like, okay, 25% capacity. And then after, I can't remember if we had announced the tour yet or it was right before it, but Texas and Missouri and a couple other states, someone else was like, let's go. We're 100% open. Fuck the mask. Let's do it. Send it. And we were like, oh, whoa, not like that. Like, just, yeah. And,
simmer down now.
Yeah. Pump the brakes. So we have had to maintain that through this, but yeah, I'm really excited to be one of the first like this to get out there. Obviously other acts have been touring and stuff, but not, I haven't seen any, I don't think, with these kind of like guidelines and protocols put in place like this. But you could tell me if I'm wrong. I have no idea.
Alicia, I haven't been to a show in fucking almost 2 years.
we're like fiending right now. It's terrible.
I know. And that's the other crazy thing is like, we haven't done this in so long. Everybody's yearning for it. Us as artists, we need it. You guys need it too, as the audience. And I think when we got together and put this tour together, we sat down and we're like, there's a way to do this responsibly. There's a method here that we can implement and do this right. And so let's do that.
Good. Yeah.
I want to jump back to the movie again. So the first time you saw the fight, obviously I'm sure you saw like dailies and like whatever, you saw like pre-cuts, but when you saw the final version, Like, were you like just like a oh my God, this is what I wanted it to be? Is it better than what I thought it was going to be? And or like this is something that like no one can ever take away from you. Like you put your body of work into that.
Yeah, it really was. It was like, I don't have kids of my own personally. I have stepchildren, but I don't have my own child. I imagine it's a lot like just watching your little baby take its first step. You know, you're like, oh my God, that's it. You did it. Fuck yeah. You know,
Yeah.
You're so stoked for this thing that is its own living, breathing thing that you helped create. And you put so many hours into it, so much work and prep work into it. And it's hard to appreciate a project this big sometimes when you're in it, because you're dissecting every little thing and you're looking at it too close almost. So I think it's important to take a step back after you do something really massive and just appreciate it, and not nitpick it to death, because you could do that all day. I'm sure you guys, if you write an album, you feel
we'll never finish one ever.
Never finish one. Yeah. At some point you have to go, this is great and I'm in love with it. And even if it has imperfections, it's still great. Yeah. And that's exactly how I felt.
I just know that, like, even if it's just an idea, if I can like record an idea and send to Rocky or whoever in the band, it's like a relief that I get off my chest, because that idea was in my head and I'm like, I have to get this out. Yeah. So I can imagine a whole production like that.
Yeah. It was, yeah, for sure. It was tough at first, because Nathan and I would do these video calls just like we are, and we would sit down and I would tell him the storyline. I'd be like, okay, now then this happens and this guy walks in and then he takes this shot and then boom, blackout. And he's like, And then I kind of felt crazy talking, like saying the story to him. And after it was all done, he was like, okay, so what happened then? You know?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, like he did the thing and this is where this happens. And you sound crazy saying the idea, but then once it clicks and you find people, and I'm sure you feel this way about your band members, when you find people that can execute your idea out of your head and make it a thing that you're feeling in your head. Sure. Yeah. You're like, you're my team. You did it.
You get a coffee in the morning, sir.
You get a coffee. Yeah. Exactly.
Like, talk about that. I mean, everyone loves like instant gratification, right? So it's like you talk about being in a band. It's 4 to 5 other people, and you have to like tell them your idea, and they have to buy in and kind of do it how you want it. Like this is like we could actually get in a room. Our band, 5 of us. Okay, let's play a song. Like what you're doing is so big where it's like, okay, it's this. So like changing an idea must, almost like parting the sea.
Yeah, no, I mean, my team, I'm really lucky in that my team trusts me. And also too, I'm open to suggestions as well. Like, I'm not like, this is how it's going, but I mean, if I'm really adamant about it, I'll say it, but I'm absolutely open. So if they feel like something could be really cool or something they could try, they're like, hey, what about this? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's rad. Fuck yeah, I love it. Let's do it. It's, I like the process. I like how long maybe not long is the word. I kind of like how complicated it can get and how tedious it can feel, because I feel like when it's too easy, it's not as satisfying to me.
And that's what struck me watching it, was like just knowing like the enormity of it and like what had to go into what the finished product was.
Yeah. Well, the end of it went really fast. The beginning of it, the writing of it, the planning of it, the wardrobe, the coming up with the scenes and here and there, that part took a very long time. I wrote it. Gosh, I wrote it while Corey was recording We Are Not Your Kind. So January 19. January 19.
Okay.
So it took me a year total to write it and get the wardrobe figured out. The movie, we filmed it in chunks. So we filmed it in August over like a week. I want to say. And then we filmed it again, another chunk of it in like October over like 5 days. And then we filmed it over 2 weeks in like November. And I think Nathan came out one more time in December, and we did another chunk of filming for a couple of days.
Okay.
So the filming process kind of went fast compared to the rest of it, I guess you could say, because we had to knock it all out. We're paying hourly for some of these places to rent them. And plus Nathan doesn't live in Las Vegas. So he had to take time off to come out here and bang it all out. And my girls had to take time. And so we packed a lot in the filming segment part of it. And then poor Nathan, he had like 2 weeks to edit the whole thing.
And like I mentioned before, I do video editing, and I do like, commercials and small projects. That's fucking, I could only imagine the amount of footage that has to go into that project. It's a lot of footage. That's a lot of, like, I could just tell because, I'm sure nobody's getting everything on the first take in the first,
No.
But so there's that. I can appreciate what that guy did, Nathan.
Oh, for sure. He is he's an angel. I bonused him at the end of that. I did. I was like, if you can get me this edit on time, I will bonus you.
That's awesome.
Greatly.
Good job, Nathan.
He did it, Nathan. And he was like, yep, you got it. And
gotcha.
He pulled some all-nighters. And luckily, we already had the outline. And what he did is, we first filmed it as like a trailer because we thought the world was going to open up sooner.
Yeah.
Like in 2020. So we actually filmed like a trailer for it. And then when we realized that was going to be, worthless, we needed to do the whole thing. We just took the outline of that trailer and he expanded it out in his, whatever he uses. What is it? Adobe
Premiere.
Yeah, Premiere, exactly. Yeah. And then he just dumps it all in. Mm-hmm. So
good job, Nathan boy.
Yeah, for sure. Good job, Nathan. Ride or die right there.
Before we let you go, one final question. This we can't say enough about Macabre. How is that going to transform live? I'm very curious. Now, when we go see you live, how are we taking this shtick on the road? Yeah. How because there's so much like that went into this, the lighting, the fucking effects, the wardrobes, the scenes, just a couple words on that. What the audience could expect.
It's going to be like the Disney on Ice version. So it'll be stripped down. You're not going to get an actual saloon rolled out on a stage.
Yeah, of course.
It's going to be more theatrical, but we have video to help push the storyline in between the act, give time for costume wardrobe changes. The great wardrobe will still be there. We have a lighting designer. We do have some production we're bringing in. And as the opening act, I've had to condense it a little bit. So it's not going to be the full length Macabre. It will be Macabre from start to finish, but there'll be some stuff taken out for time. And, but yeah, it'll still deliver it. And I think live, it'll have a cool effect. And we have a couple of surprises too in the live show.
Oh, shit.
So, yeah.
That's so awesome. Listen, everybody out there, cherrybombs.veeps.com, correct?
Yes.
Friday, tomorrow, April 23rd, Saturday, April 24th, Sunday, April 25th. Get your tickets. Check it out.
Yes.
Support. This is some cool shit. I love it. The soundtrack alone, I was just fucking jamming out all day today.
Yeah.
So cool.
Thank you.
Alicia Taylor, thank you so much for giving us some time. We really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. Much appreciated. And thank you for doing this so quick, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, amazing.
We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Stay safe, and we'll talk soon.
You too. Thank you.
All right. The great Alicia Taylor. Take care.
Bye. Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye. So fucking cool. I'm not even joking around, Rock. Not even joking around. The soundtrack to this show, Metallica, Avatar, fucking, I think Suicidal Tendencies, fucking every song.
You say tendencies?
Suicidal Tendencies. I'm not as drink as I thought I am.
Even a snippet of I don't know if she even knows this guy, Corey Taylor.
Yeah, he was in it too.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, man. I'll be honest with you. If I went to a show and I didn't know, if you know, like sometimes you just don't know the opening acts. If you just land a show, if I saw that as an opening act, I'd be like, you want to know what? Different, cool, and I mean, very pretty ladies. So can't go wrong with that. It looks like a great show.
And that's what I was saying to her. Like, again, dude, love bands, love music, right? But like, you go to a concert, you might not want to hear like, you know, 4 bands that sound like the same, similar genres, but like something different like this is like, wow, okay, hold your interest.
Well, it held my interest. So Rocco, please, what will hold your interest? Tell the people what they want to hear.
If you just heard us chat with the multi-talented Alicia Taylor, and you don't care if you live in a mansion or trailer, and you got so excited that you need an inhaler, and you spend your last dollar like you're a drunken sailor, then you just listen to Not These Two Fucking Guys podcast.
We out.